Welcome to the ESR third round of the DTM series. This is our team event for the, not year, because we're not doing the full of 2020 with it, but about the half the year anyways. Actually, probably not even that. But our weekly foray into the DTM 2016's BMW versus Mercedes versus Audi, and this time we're at Lausitzring. With me on commentary today is Matthew Higgs, the only person who cannot do a formation lap without destroying every car around him in ACC.
That happened once.
It should never have happened, so you're not going to live this down. I'm sorry. You can ask anyone that's ever run out of gas as my teammate. You will be persecuted for life. And your dad should look down upon you disapprovingly.
Well, I am the disappointment, so.
So anyways, you'll notice that there is no moving video right now because Martin decided to record like none of the qualifying, so you guys don't get to enjoy that. But on the bright side, and there is a bright side, it gives us more time to go over the grid.
I like this camera view.
Martin Peterman will be starting on pole ahead of Lucas Cranbeer and Alex Kruger, which means two guest drivers starting in the top three. Peterman and Kruger are not eligible to score. Christopher Streppin, Visar Jacoli, Sean Kenny, Ariel Zatoni, Martin Edmonds, Richard Durocher, Andrew D. Pardon me. That is your top 10. Gerardo Davel, Nico Marchand, Josiah Jerome, who is scoring now because he's recently been promoted to the Audi factory team. Demetrius Simeonitis, Wayne Hutchison, Daniel Hernandez, John Barker, Valentino Rossi, Gideon Schultz. Gideon's back after a long time away. And Larry Foster, who for some reason doesn't have a car, but he is driving the Timo Glock Deutsche Bank car. And the rest of the grid is not currently on my screen, so I cannot go through it any further. This is the Lausitzring short layout. Not really sure why we're using the short layout over the DTM layout. I know that this was used for DTM at one point, but one would think we would use the other DTM layout being a bit longer. But oh well. It's a challenging track with an interesting stadium section. And one of the, I don't know, it's a corner that I still don't understand how I'm supposed to take, but the ADAC corner, which is turn, just tracing it through my mind here, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to say, is a rather intriguing bit of racing.
Oh, Michael Magas looks like he's had some sort of accident down there at 29th.
No, I'm just slow. I had very little effective practice for this particular race because I was battling with serious flat spotting issues of my tires.
Don't lock up.
Anyways, so for Martin's interest, when we go 1, 2, or we go 3, 2, 1, and then go, that'll be when Martin can sync up the video with the audio. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. And hopefully we'll get the rest of the field here before we move to the actual race itself.
Should I have not been playing the video?
Yes.
I'm about 325 in.
Go back to 0 seconds. Go back to the beginning, and we'll do the count in again.
You started, and I was like, oh, better start then.
I told you to wait. I told you to wait.
I'm at 0 seconds.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. And let's see here. Rounding off the grid, which you can now actually see. Although, I don't know, maybe Martin would give you a still image while we're talking. Not sure which way that would go. But we have in 21st place, James Butler, Mauricio Delgado in 22nd, Michael Magas in 23rd, Elio Fernandez in 24th, Leonard Burke 25th, Vic Nash 26th, John Picha 27th, Robert Waddell 28th, and at the back, Peter Stefani. Might have lost somebody loading in, actually, because I noticed there was a empty pit box, which normally doesn't happen unless somebody dropped during the qualifying to race rollover. So we'll have to see how many cars we have. But one of the 29 might be missing.
No, there were 29.
Oh, okay. Or maybe there was someone who didn't qualify then. These are all things that are possible.
About 3 minutes in, you were 29th.
Oh, I am not a feature player in this race, I assure you. All right. Engines are going. We have red lights, red lights, red lights, and we are off. It looks like a pretty good start from Christoph Verstappen, as well as Sean Kenny, who is sporting a new livery. He's now in the number 2 Gary Paffett car, the blue Eurotronics car. Verstappen getting the better of him and takes 4th place behind Peterman, Cranbeer, and Kruger. So many pink cars at the front. So many pink cars.
Pink is good.
I mean, I like the BWT cars. There are just so many of them in the grid. That's the problem. It's the only livery in DTM at this time that was completely replicated for 2 drivers, and as a result, we have way too many of them. As it is both Lucas Auer and Christian Vittoris' car. Martin Edmonds in 6th place is your top BMW. Although there are a couple of BMWs in the top 10. Visar Jacoli running well.
Actually, first place is a BMW.
Oh, Martin Peterman, yeah, but he doesn't count as a BMW. He is a guest driver.
He is a guest BMW.
Indeed. Same with Kruger in 3rd place. Does not count as a Mercedes.
And also Martin, the top scoring Canadian so far.
Indeed. Where's Richard DeRoche? He is... There he is. He's in 8th place. So he's a little bit behind Martin Edmonds in his gunmetal gray and yellow Mercedes. You can see it in the background there. The Paul DiResta car for those who are DTM fans. So at the front, it is still Martin Peterman from Lucas Cranbeer, who was our winner last time out at Hockenheim. Would have been our winner at Nürburgring had his internet not failed. But such that it did, and Christoph Verstappen took the gold. Looking for some surprises, and Gideon Schultz is up into 15th place, so he's having a really solid showing. We've not had Gideon on our grid in a long time, so welcome back to him. He's allergic to committing to a series. And also looking down to see who's kind of... Oh, one of the Red Bull Marco Whitman cars off the track. I think that was Daniel Hernandez. Indeed it is, because it was either Hernandez or Jacoli, and Jacoli is not dropping, Hernandez is. So that's a dead giveaway. Martin Edmonds versus Sean Kenny. An ancient rivalry within the ESR annals of time. Fighting over 5th place.
I haven't seen any of our Australian friends in the last little while.
Well, obviously, the Australians always have the biggest time problems with meeting up with us. I mean, you think Europe's got it bad, but we can relatively make it happen. But the Aussies have a hard time. And they also have a booming Australian-New Zealand community down there in Racer. So we wish them nothing but the best. Maybe you should see if we can do a community event at some point and see if we can find a time that works for the North American and Australia and Oceanic continents.
That'd be cool for ACC as well.
But yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Lachlan Nichols, Brody Steen, Grant Patolo. So hop in and say hi, guys, at some point. Josiah Jerome all over the back end of Valentino Rossi, looking for a way past the motorcycle convert. And in the meantime, the top 3 are pretty much getting away. This all German lineup of Martin Peterman, Lucas Cranbeer, and Alex Kruger. I am left to believe this is Kruger's first time in an ESR race. I believe he is a friend of Mr. Peterman and Mr. Cranbeer. Peterman has, of course, done a couple of races with us in the past, but never anything terribly consistent. Just a schedule, not really a lining up thing. And of course, Lucas Cranbeer is doing his first series with us in the DTMs so far, and has been, as I said, should be sitting on 2 wins and a championship lead, but unfortunately technical difficulties got in the way at Nürburgring. Sean Kenny looking up the inside of Christoph Verstappen, but that's going to turn into the outside at the next corner. Using some DRS for this section. I was really never terribly comfortable using the DRS outside of the start-finish line, so this was a track that didn't really, in my opinion, lend itself to the DRS all that much. But obviously, there are some other areas where it can be applied. That's a bold DRS move there by Martin Edmonds. That last corner is a little bit tricky with it open already, but here he goes. But I think Martin is not really able to stay with Verstappen and Kenny. It's just their bickering that's allowing him to keep with them for the time. Although Verstappen very off the track, yes. And that's going to let both Kenny Ed Edmonds and Visar Jacoli through. So the top Audi driver drops back to 7th place. And the championship... Oh, he's off again. Whose flag?
Visar Jacoli.
That is Albania.
Huh.
A neighboring country to my homeland of the former Yugoslavia. Now, I think that Martin's got different timing to what I normally have. I normally have the gaps by where you are in relation to the next car. I think this is all in relation to the leader, judging by the fact that the numbers are getting larger and larger as we go down the field. Also, just saying, Martin Edmonds, you can see Martin Edmonds, you can see Sean Kenny. That's not a 6-second gap, so I think we can rest assured on that matter.
The timing looks different. Like it's not doing what it did before.
Yes, they have fixed it. As Josiah Jerome gets past Gideon Schultz, or did he? No, pardon me. That's him. That's him fighting with Andrew D. I guess that's a repass. He must have passed Andrew D off screen at some point, because Andrew D had been ahead of him, and little contact there. Little contact there, and we'll see where Josiah can recover to. He's lost a spot to Gideon Schultz, and that appears to be about it. So he must have gotten control of that skid pretty quickly. So good driving by Josiah. I mean, slightly bad driving to get tipped into the spin, but good recovery. Of course, Audi leads the brand championship at the moment, though is in some significant trouble with the recent bookouts of Gustav Ekstrom and Ricky Ricard, who were two of their upper-end drivers. So how will Audi fight back? Now, part of that will be the fact that they picked up a very solid driver in Josiah Jerome, who is a fantastic talent, multi-time Academy champion. And he will do a fair bit to offset that, but it will be hard. All the teams have kind of lost some drivers, but I think Audi is definitely the hardest hit by the bookouts.
Yeah, their top scoring is Verstappen so far, in 8th.
And then Josiah Jerome, and then John Barker in 16th. So it's not
Gideon
a
Schultz
great.
Is also Audi.
He is a guest.
Oh.
Gideon has what we like to call commitment issues. The guests in the field, to go through them real quick: Martin Peterman, Alex Kruger, Gideon Schultz, and I want to say that's it. I think everyone else is as you see them. The brand by their name is who they are repping.
Martin all over the back of Sean Kenny.
Indeed. And Visar Jacoli getting really frisky. Now, you got to wonder if like a team idea here would be let Visar through. He's traditionally been faster than Edmonds, although he just made a mistake there and completely derailed my thoughts on the matter right there.
Well, here goes Martin.
That eliminates that idea. Well, he's got the DRS now. Sean's in trouble because, ironically, with Verstappen there, he was getting DRS, which was letting him hold off Martin, but now he doesn't have that anymore. So it's going to be tough defending into this first corner for Sean Kenny. yeah, Visar Jacoli, Richard DeRoche, and Christophe Verstappen. Pretty close at hand. Not too much further back is Gerardo Delvel and Nico Marchand. We may have lost John Picha, or he fell down a lap in the pits, I guess would be the other option. But it does look like he might be out of this contest.
For some reason, my thing just stopped.
I can pause and wait for you.
I'm at 11:37.
Roll forward. I'm at 11:58. So tell me when you're getting there.
I'm at 11:59.
Okay, well now you're a second ahead of me because you told me too late. Silly. All right, we're close enough though. We will now have little Higgs on some spoiling duty.
There goes Martin Edmonds, and he's through.
Indeed, he is through on Sean Kinney. Sean just gave that up, it looks like. He's quite a bit behind now. Nico Marchand fighting with Josiah Jerome. I had to remember who was driving the 51 car. Well, actually, I did remember who was driving the 51 car, but I thought it was John Barker. And I am correct, John Barker is driving the 51 car, but he's driving the other 51 car.
That's a yikes.
This is the problem with having some of the duplicates across the field here, is that there are multiple drivers in the same car.
Christophe Verstappen looking to get by.
Yeah, still looking to recover, but he has not made up any ground after his moment where he went off the track and dropped back to 8th place. Was in 4th, but hasn't managed to forge further ahead again. As
lap traffic.
Looks like, yeah, lap traffic of Peter Stefani, I think. And then next up will be Robert Waddell.
John Peach just retired, I think.
Yeah, I think we worked that out a while ago. I was hoping that maybe he had just done like a pit stop or something, but it does appear that he is out. Although actually he's holding at 1 lap down, so he may still be running.
I could have sworn it just said 2 laps down, then it went back to 1.
And then it went back to 1, so I think he's running still. I think he just maybe had to make a pit stop. As Richard DeRoche holds off Christophe Verstappen. And now joining the party is Gerardo Delvel in the number 100 Martin Tomczyk BMW. Which, of course, is a signatory one of 100 years of BMW existing as a company.
Insert the more you know soundbite.
Not really sure why Tomczyk got the honor or the voluntold to change his number to 100, but that is what it is. As they make, oh, that is John Picha there, so he is still running. That's who's getting lapped there. And front end looked a little messed up, so I think that would probably explain the loss of a lap. As John Barker either just completed an overtake of Valentino Rossi or just defended against Valentino Rossi. Not sure which.
John Barker wasn't 16th, so I think he got past him.
I think you are correct that he has gotten past Valentino Rossi. As Robert Waddell moving kind of slowly through turn 1. That's a little bit dangerous. The top 3 have really gotten away. And they're still very close together, so that at least they have each other to fight with. But
this is a throwback to ACC.
A little bit. So Christophe Verstappen still on the tail of Richard DeRoche. That is Robert Waddell they are lapping, I believe.
Oh, that was close.
As they are not yet up to James Butler, who is the other Jamie Green car.
Wait, why does it say 140? You could have said an hour and 15 a minute ago.
I think that's just a timing glitch. It'll probably reset itself. We'll see.
I was panicked, so I'm like, did I skip ahead?
No, it's doing the same thing for me. I think we got a timing glitch.
Martin Edmonds now under threat because he doesn't have DRS now.
Well, he's dealing with what Sean Kenny, of course, was dealing with that allowed Martin to get past him. So that is the thing with DRS, particularly with such a long start-finish straight, is getting past somebody is not necessarily the difficult part that it usually is. It's staying ahead. Because you got to get past and then break that 1 second barrier that keeps the DRS on, and Sean is still well within that 1 second.
Really, he opened DRS for that short straight there.
I mean, you get 3 uses of it per lap, and if you don't use it, you just lose it. So, I mean, it's a tough call. There's really only 2 really good spots to use the DRS. So where you use the third one is a little bit more tactical in nature. There's the start-finish straight, and then there's the straight line after turn... I'm going to say it's turn 5? I don't know the Lausitzring too terribly well. Shoot me. It's an exciting track, but it's not one that you ever get the urge to really drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I've only driven it like once.
And when I do drive it, it tends not to be this layout. Alex Kruger still running in 3rd place behind Lucas Krembeck. Oh,
Sean Kenny going
Sean
wide.
Kenny got it, but he also went in the green, which is a track cut, so I think he's going to give that spot back. That would explain the line he took there. He took that one through nefarious means, and like the gentleman that he is, backs out and gives the spot back. Verstappen has gotten up past, Visar Jacoli gets Sean Kenny too. So, contact! Rubbin is racing. And I think Kenny will hold down. I was going to say, Verstappen has taken DeRoche for 7th place, so Verstappen finally starting to charge back through the field for Audi. But it's looking really good right now for Mercedes and BMW, who each have 2 scoring cars ahead of the top Audi car. There's not a lot of support for Verstappen behind him either. There's Josiah Jerome, who's running in 10th place and having a solid day. But to find the 3rd Audi, you got to go all the way down to 15th place and John Barker. And then after him, it's 20th place James Butler. Yes, that is Leonard Burke falling a lap down. So Sean Kenny back to 6th place, having run in 4th. We'll see if he can do anything. Visar Jacoli still in there. DeRoche, or pardon me, that's Verstappen. Jacoli is in there as well, but that's Verstappen at the end of it. Oh, John Barker. John Barker and Valentino Rossi, or is that Ariel Zatoni? No, that's Rossi that he is fighting with. So that fight has become physical and back and forth.
Is that Jacoli or yeah?
That is Jacoli in 5th place. Yeah, the Marco Whitman BMW. Red Bull
gives you wings.
There are, of course, 2 Red Bull cars in this race. The other one is an Audi. So there's an Audi and a BMW. They're actually pretty easy to tell apart, actually. They use very different shades of blue, at least. But there are 2 Red Bull BMWs driven by Visar Jacoli. Some lap traffic is being caught at a bit of an awkward spot on the track.
Isn't Matthias Ekstrom also a Red Bull driver?
Yep, he's the Audi Red Bull driver. Which, between the 2 of them, they have 4 DTM titles. So, I mean, the Red Bull sponsorship has been good.
Oh, Richard DeRouche. Oh, lose the spot.
Indeed. Gerardo Delval up a spot. And Josiah Jerome will be the next to try to take a crack at Richard.
Is that the Mexican flag?
On Delval?
Yeah.
Yes. Gerardo is Mexican.
Martin Edmonds up to the 4th place to see if he can eat into these leaders, maybe.
I doubt it. The leaders seem very confident, but it could be just get some bad traffic can make some difference. As Vic Nash in the background being caught and overtaken, doing a good job to get off the racing line, which is not required under blue flag circumstances, but at some section of the track is advisable. We hop on board with Josiah Jerome, the new Audi man. He was at Hockenheim in a guest Audi, and has now taken over Gustav Ekstrom's spot in the team. Vizar Jacoli looking to make a move on his BMW teammate Martin Edmonds. And to be honest, these two squabbling is not a good idea. They need to either team up to try to get away from Sean Kenny, or if they do believe they can catch the top three, they need the same still applies. They need to do it. Now, if Jacoli believes that he's faster than Edmonds, then perhaps Edmonds needs to, release him like a cork from the bottle. But they're definitely not on the same page. And that's going to hurt the BMW team chemistry right now. BMW, of course, at the bottom of the brand standings. They need a good result here to try to get their season on track. They've been dead last at the Nürburgring and at Hockenheim, and they've had great attendance. So the drivers have been here. They just need the results.
Indeed.
And it's not helping them that Nico Marchand, who was looking like a surefire top 10, is down to 14th. So I wonder what happened to the BMW bank car.
It went broke.
Apparently. Vizar Jacoli on the tail of Martin Edmonds. In the background, Sean Kenny there in the blue car. And then it is Verstappen in the Audi. And Richard DeRoche is under attack again. This time it's from Josiah Jerome. So Richard, who was looking really solid early on, seems to have lost the pace. He seems out of the groove right now.
Random fact, a bolt of lightning contains enough energy to toast 100,000 slices of bread.
That's a lot of bread.
Charles Darwin's personal pet tortoise didn't die until recently.
Tortoises are very, very long-lived. That is for sure. They're like one of the few pets that you have to actually prove that you can leave them with someone if you die.
I have turtles.
It's not a question.
Sean, who is that?
That's Leonard Burke getting lapped.
Sergeant Coley, you crashed into him though.
Yeah, I think Leonard gave him enough room. I think he just came into that turn a little bit hot, which happens.
Chorophobia is the irrational fear of being happy.
So now I do think John Peach is out of the race, by the way. He's down 4 laps, and the fact that we've not seen him get lapped again suggests to me that he is possibly out of the race. Michael Magas is the first to come in and serve his mandatory pit stop.
I was just about to say that.
Since I am him, I can say I flat spotted the tires, and basically at this point had decided a 2-stop strategy was really my only option. So get on the fresh tires, try to make up some ground, and then...
Is there any way not to have a pit window for ACC?
Yeah, you can set it to 0. You can turn mandatory pit stop off.
But if you do have a mandatory pit stop, is there any way not to have a pit window?
No. If there's a mandatory pit stop, there has to be a corresponding pit window, as far as I understand. Now, I'm new to the ACC server thing, so it's possible I'm incorrect in saying that. Sean Kenny's going for it. Sean Kenny's gotten past Jacoli at some point, so he's back up into 5th place. We'll see if he can get back to grips with his arch nemesis, Martin Edmonds. But it wouldn't make sense that you would have a mandatory pit stop without a pit window. Why do you ask?
I was just wondering because I was looking at here, then it also has a pit window.
There is indeed. Mauricio Delgado has... I assume he's still in the pits. Nope, looks like he has actually rejoined in 21st position. So Mauricio Delgado having a pretty solid run here for BMW. Although the early pit stop suggests that he may have to go 2-stopper. this track was eating tires at an alarming rate, frankly.
Do you want to go over the history of DTM for our new viewers?
Well, DTM, of course, is, I'm not even going to try and say the German name, but it's basically German Touring Car Masters, and of course the D is Deutsche. It's been, drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Ariel Zatoni, so that's going to hurt him. So we will see one of the pink cars come in for a drive-through penalty. I am not sure who that is that Kruger just overtook. I wasn't aware that we had a second Augusto Farfus car in the field, because that's not Martin Edmonds, is
Vic
it?
Nash?
No, Vic Nash is the Antonio Felix da Costa car. The gray car, for those who do not know the driver names.
L. Foster?
No, that's the Glock car, the Deutsche Bank. Could be Delgado. I can't, for the life of me, recall what car Delgado is driving, so I think by process of elimination, it is him. So they're up to 20th place on the... Also, the gap would make sense. 127 is substantially more than a lap, so I'd say Delgado is down a lap, so that would make sense. Anyways, back to the DTM. DTM has been the home to German manufacturers of a certain level. Mercedes and Audi have been here since the start. Originally, they had Opel as their third manufacturer. Then Opel... I want to say Opel pulled out before BMW showed up, but I can't remember if there was maybe an overlap there. But BMW arrived in 2011 or 2012. Won the championship with Bruno Spengler relatively shortly after that, who is the only non-European to win the DTM title. Spengler is, of course, Canadian, although I do always say he's always the fake Canadian because he's really more Swiss than he's Canadian, but whatever. And then, of course, recently Mercedes has pulled out. Aston Martin was there for a cup of coffee in 2019, literally one season, and they're apparently pulling out. So it'll be back down to Audi and BMW as the only two manufacturers in 2020 if the season, gets going amidst this whole isolation and quarantine business.
Opel withdrew at a DTM in 2005.
Okay, so well before the BMW came in. So there was a period where it was just Mercedes and Audi then. James Butler is up a couple spots since we last looked at him, although I think that's just pit stop related. As he does overtake Elio Fernandez there, though, legitimately on pace. Elio's been having an excellent season, although today, this particular race has not been going terribly his way, down in 17th place.
Apparently space smells like seared steak.
I will take the word of someone on that, I guess. Peter Stefani's been in for his pit stop, so he has served. Most of the grid's still yet to make their mandatory. Plenty of time. No rush. But just trying to track where the pit stops are. Gerardo Delvel has been in and out, so he's the first of the top 10 to get in, get his fresh tires, and get potentially fueled up to the end, although you could do this race on a single tank of fuel. The Lausitzring is low fuel usage.
Wayne Hutchison probably will.
I think Wayne, of course, he was on columns with me. I think he did a splash dash just to be safe. But you definitely needed to come in for tires, so. Even if there hadn't been a mandatory pit stop in this race, I don't think anyone would have tried going on no pit stop. As Demetrius Simeonitis falls down a lap there to I hate to call the guys in 4th through 7th the trailing pack, but they are the trailing pack. They don't have anything for the top 3. That's Sean Kenny, Visar Jacoli, Martin Edmonds, and Christoph Verstreppen. Verstreppen going for it into turn 1 against Martin Edmonds. And I think he got the job done. And he did. I will say there was some liberal use of that green surface there. I'm not sure what it actually is. I said AstroTurf there for a second, but I don't think it is AstroTurf. That technically is illegal, but I mean, if the game doesn't give you a drive-through penalty, I guess it's legal enough.
Did you know this track was built on the site of a former coal mine?
Makes sense. You'd need large tracts of land, obviously, to build any kind of racetrack. So airfields, coal mines have been relatively common places. Or mines of various types, I should say. Not just coal mines. I want to say this is the only German track to have ever hosted a champ car race, actually, if I recall correctly. A tragic one, but a champ car race nonetheless.
Was that the one that... I think I know which one, but I can't remember his name right now.
It's the one that Alex Zanardi lost his legs at. Yeah, that was this track.
This is Europe's only super speedway.
Mm-hmm. What defines a super speedway? I've always wondered that.
I guess length?
Is it a speed thing, a length thing?
It's only 3 turns like Pocono, so...
Well, yeah, of course, oval-style racing is not terribly big in Europe, so, you know, it would make sense that they would have relatively few. This, of course, you can see that there is an oval here, as well as the road course, if you look at the background. Sort of like Indianapolis when we race it in Race Room, or Monza technically actually has like a banking oval around it, but you can't really see it usually. John Barker overtook Valentino Rossi, so Rossi is slipping back. And of course, the interesting thing is when some pit stops start happening, where does Gerardo Delvel come into play? Because that's the question. Did Gerardo make the right call getting into the pits and getting a fresh set of tires when he did? It depends on what lap times he's been turning right now. I think based on the gap, that it is the wrong call, but we'll see. It depends on if my gauge of how long a pit stop is actually correct. But he's not stuck in traffic right now, so he can. Is
that Patrick Tambay?
That is Tambay's car, yeah.
I was trying to read the letters on.
Or no. It's his son. It's Adrian Tambay. Adrian. I think it's his son, anyways. I can't remember if I actually confirmed it was his son or not. Might be a son, nephew, the younger Tambay. We'll put it that way.
You know, cool?
So many second-generation drivers these days.
DTM at Nordschleife.
I think they did that at one point.
Yep, they did.
It's been a while, but yeah, that would be cool. Although running down the big straightaway with DRS on, man, that car would shake. Looks like we've lost Martin Edmonds, which was broken down in the DTM chat. He plowed into a wall. So Edmonds and Picha are out. We're down to 27 cars. All the Mercs are still running. BMW now. Oh, okay, Richard DeRoche's coming in the pits. This is interesting. I hope we stick with this for a little bit because he's the one that was racing with Gerardo Delval. So this is really going to be... what do you mean we're gone?
Oh no!
Oh yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're not watching it. Well, we can still see if he comes out in front. So we're looking at the current 9th place car of Richard DeRoche. Where does he come out in relation to Gerardo Delval?
He's
also
rolling.
Josiah
Jerome.
Indeed, yeah, he's rolling. It's a fast pit stop. These cars refuel quickly and change tires very quick. It was part of the reason I went with the 2-stop strategy. Frankly, is it's not a it's like a 5-second stop to change tires. So why not? All right, Richard has come out well ahead of Gerardo, I think. So Gerardo, I think, has come out on the bad end of the strategy this time. But who knows? He could have pitted early for damage. Maybe he flat spotted the tires. There's a lot of reasons why you would have to adopt a 2-stop strategy here. But I don't think it's working out for him from a top 10 standpoint, because he is quite a ways behind Richard DeRoche exiting the pits. Where did Josiah rejoin? Josiah down in 20th. What happened there? I thought he'd be much higher than that. Right, interesting. That to me seems like just a bad pit stop from Josiah. What about you?
Yeah, I think you're right.
The Audi crew botching a simple pit stop. What a bunch of amateurs.
Aren't you an Audi driver? Oh no, you're a Mercedes.
I'm in Mercedes. I normally drive Audi, and it's not due to any Audi loyalty. Actually, you can see the car in the background here being driven by Leonard Burke, the green and yellow one. I like that livery. Oh, Richard! Oh, he hung on. He hung on to
someone
it.
else died in the background.
Oh, yeah, that is one of the Silverfield cars off. That is either Michael Magas. I don't recall going off there, so I don't think it's me. Wayne Hutchison would be the other. No, Wayne's in the 34 car. It might have to be me by process of elimination. I'm not sure that there was another Silverfield, but I don't remember losing it there. Demetrius Simeonitis. That's just a lapse. Oh no, that's an overtake. That's Leonard Burke in 22nd place. So it's a bit weird to see Leonard Burke fighting with Demetrius, although Leonard Burke's not pitted yet. I think that's the key factor there. Some of the cars, of course, yet to pit. Some people are out of order a little bit. Surprise, surprise! Wayne Hutchison's going deep. Gideon Schultz overtaking Mauricio Delgado on a drive-through penalty, speeding in the pit lane for Visar Jacoli, and that's going to cost BMW big. Andrew D rejoins the race from the pit lane. Andrew D with a good long run. He's becoming Wayne Hutchison Jr. at this point with some of the long runs he's pulled off. Speeding in the pit lane for Robert Waddell. So we're actually up to the point where every brand has taken a speeding in the pit lane penalty.
Well, at least we're even now.
The Audis with Waddell were the last ones not to have one. Admittedly, this is a really slow pit lane for a super speedway, so 60 kilometers, I do believe. So I think that was catching people out. And also the pit lane limiter was actually having a really hard time not creeping up to like 63, 64K, which of course would trigger a drive-through. So a lot more throttle, a lot more speed control from the drivers this time around than they're probably a little bit used to. Wayne Hutchison overtaking people right, left, and center as he continues his long run. I believe this is Visar serving his drive-through. We'll see if he stops or just continues on his merry way. Although, I suspect he is not terribly merry at this moment. And indeed, he is not stopping, so this is for the drive-through. Oh, and he got another one! No! Oh, that's a bad rejoin. That was... I'm surprised he didn't get... I'm surprised he didn't get a drive-through for the abuse of the white line there. Jesus. Lucky Ariel Zatoni did not destroy his car. Alex Kruger's been in and out. Race leader Martin Peterman's been in and out. Lucas Cranbeer apparently was in and out at some point. So Sean Kenny has inherited the lead. He's going deep. Nico Marchand still out there. Wayne Hutchison. James Butler and Daniel Hernandez, Leonard Burke, Vic Nash, all yet to pit. So the 3 Germans are in the same order. It's just 2nd through 4th now instead of 1st through 3rd. James Butler fighting with Andrew D, and that's going to be a losing proposition because Andrew D's got nice French too. And that's Nico Marchand.
Ah. James Butler back. Oh, I thought he was down to 9th place. It moved.
It did. He overtook Andrew D. That's amazing. Andrew D's got nice fresh tires on. I would have thought Butler would be virtually helpless to deal with him, but he got him back. Wayne Hutchison is in. Gentlemen who have not pitted, I have bad news for you, and I don't know how to break it to you, but if you stay out longer than Wayne Hutchison, you fucked up.
At Andrew D, at James Butler, at Nico Marchand, at Sean Kenny.
Andrew D's been in. He's cleared. It's well, Sean Kenny's in the lead, so at least there's like a tactical reason there. He can try and stretch it. I don't think it's going to work, but I understand the logic of what he's trying to imply. It will give you a fresher set of tires down the run, so I mean it might pay off yet, but I don't think going longer than Wayne Hutchison is ever that advisable.
But he may Leonard Burke drive-through penalty. And Robert Waddell speeding in the pit lane.
So that's Robert Waddell getting a speeding in the pit lane penalty while serving a speeding in the pit lane penalty.
It's almost poetic.
I mean, admittedly, it makes sense though if you think about it, because if you sped in the pit lane, this implies that there's something wrong with your approach.
Nico Marchand drive-through
penalty.
No, Nico.
Nico was doing well. I was interested to see how he would do, but I think that speeding in the pit lane penalty will probably hurt him sufficiently to kind of knock him out of the question. He is looking like he might have been on for a top 10, so that's disappointing. He, of course, ended Hockenheim in the wall, so I was cheering for him to have a good result here.
Are these guys busy on the weekends? Because it'd be awesome to have this many guys in ACC.
Well, there was the time issue, of course, for a lot of them, the European crowd. The 5 p.m. Eastern time that we were using for ACC prior was probably not the greatest consideration. I think we just kind of copied and pasted Saturday without realizing that, well, Saturday works because people have Sunday to sleep in. They don't necessarily have Monday to sleep in. And your mic is open right now, Little Higgs.
Yeah, I know.
Silence.
You will never silence me.
Sean Kenny's been in and out of the pits, and he's in 5th place. He's lost a spot to Verstappen comfortably, too. So, yeah, the long run did not work out for him. I'm just having a look here to see who I think the biggest winners and losers of the pit battle are. I mean, after I kind of poo-pooed him, Gerardo's up to 8th place. But I wouldn't say he's the biggest winner. My pick for biggest winner is Andrew D, 7th place right now. That worked out beautifully for him. So he's played the pit stops to perfection. Shout out to Gideon Schultz, who's up to 11th. He did a great job in the pits as well. And in terms of those who have lost out, Josiah Jerome has lost out huge. He's gone from battling for top 10 honors to 19th place. That's not good. And unlike Vissar Jacoli and Nico Marchand, he doesn't have the excuse of a drive-through. Although it looks like something else has happened to Vissar, because he's down to 17th. And that's behind Nico Marchand, who also had a drive-through penalty. So something has happened to the Red Bull BMW to put it that far back. So after the pit stops, Martin Peterman still leads the race from Lucas Cranbeer, Alex Kruger, Christopher Steppen, Sean Kinney, Richard DeRoche, Andrew D, Gerardo Daval, Ariel Zatoni's up into the top 10, Valentino Rossi up into the top 10. Good work, gentlemen. Gideon Schultz, John Barker, as that's a lapping scenario there. That's Peter Stefani. Was I Fernandez? I don't think I was at Fernandez.
He's not a lap down yet, so never mind.
No, it's that's Peter Stefani in the number 3 car. The number 3 cars are Richard DeRoche and Peter Stefani. I think we can safely say it's not Big Richard. Leonard Burke in the Leonard Burke gets the luck and the privilege and the downfall of being the only 99 car. So on the bright side, you're nice and original, and it's easy to pick you out on replays. On the downside, you're nice and unique, and it's easy to pick you out if you hit somebody.
I need to blend in an ACC then.
Mike Magas going to fall down a lap here to Gideon Schultz and Valentino Rossi. I must say, question to Valentino Rossi, as to be honest, this is kind of illustrating for me, actually. When he was coming up to me to lap me, of course, being a teammate, I was, trying to be as friendly about it as possible, as cooperative, I guess is the word. And he really seemed to just die on the straightaway, so I'm wondering if he was just running way too much wing. I know the default wing on this track is like 16 for the Mercedeses, and that was probably twice what you were supposed to be running. So I kind of wondered that every time he was coming up to me, because like the other Mercedes, it's like, all right, this way, sir. Yes, please take the apex. With him, it was like, are you gonna try and overtake me? And then the gap would start growing, and I'm just like, this is not good.
That's a big yikes.
It is a nightmare as a back marker to be faster in a straight line than the guys who are lapping you. It's like, I really want to let you through here, though. Gideon Schultz picks up a spot there against Valentino Rossi. So Gideon into the top 10. These DTMs really suiting him because, and I mean this with no disrespect at all intended, Gideon not normally a top 10 driver, but in the DTMs, apparently a bit of a soulmate.
Is he more of an open wheel guy?
I've not raced with him enough to really know what he is. He's faster than I am on like a natural level. So any shade I throw at him, I'm throwing at myself. But just never would I have thought he'd be running ahead of the likes of Wayne Hutchison, Nico Marchand, John Barker, Vissar Jacoli. Although Vissar, we speculate something happened to him. Josiah Jerome, top end drivers here.
Josiah, of course, dropping down quite a lot after his pit stop.
He's coming back through the field now, so we'll see what happens. As that is, the leaders are coming. The leaders are coming through.
Cars.
There's more than 3 on the track. That's the problem. There are 5 on the track right now.
There's an issue there.
There's too many pink. Too much pink. Well, the problem, and I emphasize this again, is that it's here. Case in point, Ariel Zatoni is fighting with Elio Fernandez, who are the other 2 BWD cars. Oh, hey, guys. It's Peter Stefani. He's your teammate. Leave him alone.
The 2 8 cars are fighting with each other, and the 2 22 cars are fighting with each other.
Well, there's 3 of one. I think there's 3 22 cars and 2 8 cars, I think.
No, there's 3 8s. They're right here.
Oh, those are okay. So 3 8s, 2 22s. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, this is the problem with the. Again, I like the addition of the pink to the field. It's eye catching and everything, but having two BWT number 8s and 2 BWT 22s registered, and then having a guest driver in another BWT 8 car, it's a bit overwhelming.
BWT is a water mineral brand, isn't it?
Purification brand. They might also have a mineral water brand as well. I don't know. I know they do purifiers as their big business. This also begs the question of why they use pink as their predominant color. Wouldn't it be like an aqua blue?
That'd be more understandable.
The other problem, if I may continue on this BWT problem, is that the BWT drivers, the ones who pick the BWT liveries, are very similar in pace. So they end up fighting each other a lot.
No cooperation there.
Because like Ariel Zatoni, Elio Fernandez, Valentino Rossi, all very similar in pace with each other. So they end up racing each other a lot. Lucas Cranbeer would be the exception. He's a little bit above the other BWT cars. But then he brings Alex Kruger with him, and they're running side by side the whole race in BWT cars. Ariel Zatoni trying to go down the inside of Valentino. Oh, no, that's Elio Fernandez.
And Lucas Auer.
Yeah, Lucas Auer and Christian Vittoris. Another spot for Gideon. Picked off Valentino Rossi. 9th place for the charging Gideon Schultz. It's a shame he's not actually scoring for Audi. They could really use him right now. Just like to, on air, confirm that if Audi would like to adopt Gideon Schultz to their team, I don't actually have any objections. As one of the people who has to approve these things.
Come on, Gideon, fix those commitment issues.
Yeah, he's just got to commit. Because he's doing really well. Like, I can't emphasize it enough. He's up in 9th place. And it's a legitimate 9th place. It's not like some long pit stop run or anything. Like, this is where he is. Now, it's assisted like any kind of, top 10 can be. A couple of drive-through penalties. Whatever happened with Visar Jacoli. But, I mean, he's legitimately here. He's legitimately racing with Valentino Rossi, who's a talented driver. He's beating a number of talented drivers on merit. He's doing very, very well. It looks like we've lost Robert Waddell, unless you could think of a reason he'd be 10 laps down.
Maybe he's just slow.
Well, Robert is definitely a Division 3 driver. He is not that slow.
He's not quite Mike Magas pace, though.
Hey, whoa, I'm only down 1 lap. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm down 2 at this point. Oh, 1, 2, 1. Make up your mind. Come on. It is definitely 2. I can say that. Oh, and I've just lost a spot to Vic Nash. We jinxed me.
Wait, wasn't Vic Nash usually you faster?
No, Vic's an academy driver. He's developing nicely, though. But Vic's hoping to see a lot more of Vic Nash in the academy. He's had to book out a number of times because he has to rush home from work to participate in the academy. And needless to say, sometimes that doesn't work out. Although as you bring that up, who am I surprised to see towards the back? Larry Foster is maybe my big surprise of the race. Larry's been very quick in qualifying. He just hasn't really turned that into race pace. And seeing him back in 22nd place at the moment is a little jarring because I'm pretty sure he qualified quite a bit higher than that. In terms of the good surprises, Gideon Schultz is got to be my man. Top 10. Wouldn't have seen that coming.
James Butler doing a quiet 12th place.
No, that's Barker in 12th.
Oh,
Butler's in 16th.
2 JBs. At least I didn't say James Barker.
You did get the first name right, at least. Yes.
James Barker and John Butler.
That's wrong. What is it with you guys and J names?
There's too many J names in ACC.
I still have to say Andrew D gets the big gold star for pit stop strategy, getting up into 7th place. That's a huge run for him right now, and a huge run for BMW, who lost Martin Edmonds, of course. So they needed some good news.
Where did Martin crash?
I don't know where. There's a video of it on Discord. I want to say it was after turn 3. So talking about the brand battle real quick, things have gotten a little better for Audi. Verstappen's climbed to 4th place. But overall, it's not a great day for them. John Barker in 12th is scoring for them. Josiah Jerome 15th. James Butler. And that's about it, really. Leonard Burke is still running, so he's still there. We're getting some camera work from Martin Edmonds, who's, of course, retired from the race, and giving us some director work. Somebody coming into the pit lane. Oh, well, I've been praising him all race, but I feel like we might have figured out Gideon Schultz's key to victory here, and that is he's on a 2-stopper. Still a good run, don't get me wrong. Still a very good run, but I think that ends the hope of a top 10. Unless some of these top 10s turn themselves into a 2-stopper. But with 20 minutes to go, I think anyone that's committed...
Tony just died.
Oh, yeah, whoa. Well, he's not dead, but he is mowing the grass.
That's a very expensive lawnmower you got there.
Vizar Jacoli, and... Oh, what happened to Gerardo? Things have gotten worse for BMW. Gerardo Delvale has suddenly dropped to 12th place. I wonder if he did a second pit stop. Because we remember, we were talking about Gerardo pitting very, very early. I wonder if he, like myself, was one of the early converts to a 2-stop strategy. And as someone who went with the 2-stop strategy, I hesitate to say that it was the wrong call. I'm down in 24th place, so it was not the right call.
23rd.
Oh, I picked off Larry Foster. Oh, Larry Foster's in the pits, so he's on a 2-stopper as well. So I absolutely would not say that the 2-stopper was the right call. That being said, if you flat spot the tire, that can quickly become a bigger and bigger problem, and I'm not really a fan of the flat spot mechanics in Race Room right now. Happy that they're here. They had, Sean Kenny taking 4th place. So
making a mistake.
Oh, yeah, he did. You're like a second ahead of me.
I flat spotted my tires in ACC, and it made all right turns a nightmare.
So, here's what happens with the flat spots in Race Room right now. You develop a really, really terrible vibration, basically. Oh, guys, your teammates! Nico Marchand and Vissar Jacoli exchanging the fisticuffs.
Oh, close again.
This is not what the BMW team needs right now. 3 of their cars really close together. This is where you need a strong voice in the team manager role and just be like, okay, we're letting Vissar through. He's the fastest. Go, go, go. And I'd let Delvale through. And that's not a knock on Nico Marchand. He's a fine driver, but Delvea is on a second pit stop, I think. So he's on a fresh set of tires. Vissar is a top 5, was a top 5 driver until he got the drive-through penalty. So I would have to say that the team move there would be for Marchand to get out of the way. But at the same time, Vissar very close to taking himself and his teammate out. That would be terrible for BMW.
First place is cleared out.
Yeah, Martin Peterman way out ahead. I got the feeling all this race long that Alex Kruger could overtake Lucas Cranbeer, and just wasn't. Being a guest driver. Feel like Lucas may have brought Alex to be a rear gunner of sorts for himself. So John Barker up into the top 10 with a couple of people opting for the 2-stop strategy. And John Barker knows a thing or two about making the tires work. So probably, I could solidly say, is on a 1-stopper. And of course, another guy who's taken advantage of this to move into the top 10 is Wayne Hutchison, who's up at 8th.
My boy Wayne.
Everybody's boy Wayne. Come on. So Gerardo's still fighting with Nico Marchand. By the way, Visar Jacoli is well behind them now, so he's had something happen again. The BMWs are tripping over themselves, and this might explain why they are last in the brand battle. I'll tell you, Mercedes was not feeling confident heading into this battle, in terms of the brand battle, because we were worried. We didn't have a very good setup. We didn't have a great understanding of the track, to be honest. But it's looking pretty good for us right now, with Cranbeer up in second, Kenny in fourth, DeRoche in sixth, Hutchison and Rossi in the top 10.
Martin didn't crash after turn 3. It was later on the lap.
Okay. So Gerardo Del Valle still on the tail of Nico Marchand, and if he's got fresh tires, this has got to be super frustrating for him, because that two-stop strategy, of course, he's got to make time. He's got to pump out the laps, and he's got to deal with traffic quickly, and he's not able to deal with Nico Marchand, it seems. Might have him here to turn 1, and of course the action cuts away to the battle of the pink cars. What else? 2 Christian Vittorias enter. Only one may claim the title. James Butler up to 15th place. Not sure who he overtook, to be honest. As he overtakes Visar. Visar is falling backwards. All right, so what are the thoughts here, Little Higgs? Oh, well, I think I answered my own question. That's a fucked up front end on that BMW. So I am thinking Visar may have had what I like to call physical relations with something on the track.
Not the best thing to have.
So I was gonna say, are we thinking flat tire? Are we thinking fuel conservation? But I think the headbutt the wall might be the clubhouse favorite on that one.
I'll tell you what corner Martin crashed at when we get to it.
Cool.
It was the corner after that short straight in the infield. This one right
yeah,
here.
no, I could totally see losing the car there. As Peter Stefani makes way for some Mercedes to go through. I think we might have lost Larry Foster from the race. He's 5 laps down now. I think. Oh no, I can say for sure. Him and Demetrius Simeonitis are out because they are listed behind Peter Stefani, who is 6 laps down, and they are 5 and 3 laps down. So we're down to 24 cars running. Peter Stefani at the back. Peterman still leads by about pretty much clockwork, 6.5 seconds. 7 seconds now, so he's gotten a little further ahead. Cranbeer, Kruger, Kenny. John Barker looking for a move on Valentino Rossi. These two have been fighting all race long. And to be honest, I'm a little surprised it's for 9th place now. And that's not a dig at either driver. Just it's kind of weird that 2 guys have been fighting the whole race, like, tooth and nail would actually make progress through the field. Because usually that slows you down. Oh, something has happened with Wayne Hutchison. He's dropped to 11th, 12th place. Could be, but come on, it's Wayne.
Wayne, buddy.
We really thinking Wayne Hutchison needs a 2-stop strategy?
Well, you told me you did take a slash and dash.
I do. Well, that was on his pit stop though. I do know what happened there. Since we're not going to get it on camera, I'll tell you. Spun around and he was at the head of like a really long trail of cars. So he just got overtaken a bunch of times. There's a really close battle that isn't obvious because they're all lapped down, going on from about John Barker back to Ariel Zatoni.
How are they all lapped down?
Because Martin Peterman's lapped them all.
Is he now the stop mill of this league, or he was this race?
Well, it's also a 75-minute race. There's going to be a lot of lapping. It's a 1 minute 19 track. So, like, there's always going to be some blue flagging if you're doing a short track for a relatively long race. Like, I feel that Mike Stoffman would have lapped even further up. Oh, there, we get a look at the gaps I was talking about. John Barker a minute 50 behind, all the way back to a minute or 2 minutes 11 to Zatoni. Okay, so Zatoni's not really in the fight, but from Barker back to Hutchison are actually very close together.
That 8th was where Hudson was, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. So it's important for them to not make mistakes. And the man who is like in the catbird seat here, if he hasn't ruined his tires trying to fight his way through, is this man, Gerardo Dalval, who we believe made a two-stop strategy and is the highest running two-stopping car. So he's got the freshest tires if he can make things happen. I believe he pitted for the second time with around 20 minutes to go. So he's only on 12-minute-old tires, but he's not been fighting his way through the field nearly as well as we thought. Has gotten past Nico Marchand, but is now fighting with a Mercedes of Valentino Rossi, who is a very feisty competitor. And he does get the job done, though, into turn one. Ooh. Very close there.
Too many pink cars.
At least Valentino's not battling with pink cars now. He's away from them.
I hear a lot of redlining.
A lot of redlining, yeah. It's a lot more noticeable now with the wind they've given the transmissions.
Did you hear Sir Sterling Moss died today?
I did not.
But yeah, age 90.
I mean, you can't be terribly broken up with. I mean, if you're related to him, don't get me wrong. But for those of us, it's kind of something we've been, prepared for to a degree. So Nico Marchand is all over the back end of Rossi. So Rossi's lost the fight with Delval, and now has to fight Nico Marchand. That car, of course, is the first ever BMW DTM champion, Bruno Spenkler. The number 7 BMW bank car. Now, when I say first ever, I should say that the DTM has kind of two different timelines, as it were. There's the old DTM, which is like the DTM 92 cars that we have in Race Room.
I love those cars.
But then DTM ceased to exist for a couple of years and then kind of reopened up in 2000, I want to say.
You forgot Alfa Romeo used to be in DTM too.
I've only been talking about the modern. If we're going back to the classic, yeah, Alfa Romeo and also Ford have run DTM.
Ah, yeah, with the Mustang. It was a Fox body.
It was. Looked like my mom's old car, actually.
My buddy has a Fox body, and I kept tagging him in that, saying, "You should get this body kit."
So Gerardo made quick work of John Barker, so got past him quick. So he is on the charge. Next target will be Andrew D. Although Andrew has kind of run away from this group now. It's about 31 seconds up the road. Thank you, Martin, for providing us with the gaps right when I was talking about gaps. That's a good time. So I don't think
up in the 14th.
Yep, he's gotten past. Someone's dropped back actually because
Gideon.
No, Gideon was already behind them. Who is it?
Simeonitis?
Nah,
Foster?
he's been retired for a while. Foster's been back there a while. Could be Elio Fernandez. Could be. He might have been up in that mix. But yeah, Wayne was already ahead of Zatoni and Schultz, so it's somebody else that he's got. You know what? Oh wait, no, I just found him. I was gonna say I was thinking somebody was missing, but I just found him up in 13th place.
We've
So I was
lost one
gonna.
since the start.
We did. It's Butler. It's Butler. That's who Hutchison passed. James Butler's internet is given out again.
Oh, he was talking that today, wasn't he?
Yeah, it also happened to do in the Academy race too. I think his internet is a bit jinxed right now.
Mine isn't the best either.
Rossi still holding off. Marchand, although as I say that, makes a mistake and Nico's through.
Marchand gets fast. At least he's
So
not
the next,
Brad Marchand.
the next to take a crack at Valentino will be Josiah Jerome in the Audi. Unless he can get back at Marchand. Although it feels like it feels like I think Rossi was one of the early ones to pit. And it feels like his tires might just be gone. And not to throw a lot of shade, but watching Valentino drive, he's a very aggressive fighting driver, which usually means your tire life is going to be a little bit more limited. And they do have a lap. They have a lead car coming through. That is the 4th place car of Sean Kinney in the blue and yellow. And Christopher Streppen behind him. So trying to work their way through. Man, this has got to be the most stressful part of the race for the leaders working their way through this battle with the blue flags even.
I hate blue flags.
Because they don't have much of a pace advantage over these guys. So it's going to be hard to make their way through.
GT3 cars need DRS.
Josiah Jerome going through. Oh, that's good camera view.
Sean Kenny also
banging. Well, yeah, but Sean's a blue flagger. That's fine. But a little contact between Josiah Jerome and Valentino Rossi. Valentino! That's your teammate. feel like that's something I've had to say a couple of times. It's your teammate, dude.
Oh, collision airning. Valentino Rossi.
Oh, yeah, Rossi kind of turned in front of Josiah Jerome there and hit the lead car of Christopher Streppen. Rossi needs to center down, calm down. I think those tires are just gone, though. I think might be the problem.
A little damage to Vissar Giacoli.
Vissar Giacoli picking up a spot. Yeah, we were going through that before. We suspect headbutt with wall.
Yeah, the right hand side headlight kind of tell that.
Could be a car, could be a collision with a car too, but we didn't see it, so we don't know. All right, so Verstappen is through, but lost a ton of time to Sean Kenny. I want to say Rossi was more cooperative with his brand mate, but he almost hit him at the same time. So I think that might have been a little bit more random than intentional.
Oh, spins him around.
Yeah, that's a case of 2 into 1 does not go, guys. And Vissar Giacoli does take out Valentino Rossi, but he does wait for him to rejoin. And Wayne Hutchison now right on the tail of them in the 34 car of Esteban Ocon.
I recognize that Esteban Ocon.
I think it was Ocon at Lausitz anyways. This, of course, was the season that Ocon did both DTM and F1. And as a result, some of the races it would be Ocon, and some of the races it would be Felix Rosenqvist in that car.
Isn't Rosenqvist in IndyCar now?
You are correct. I was going to say Formula E, but yeah, he went from Formula E to IndyCar with the Chip Ganassi squad.
Never heard of them.
I question this. Stink eye. All right, so we're probably, I imagine we're on the final lap or approaching the final lap of this race. I think approaching would be No, I think Peterman, the leader, is on his last lap at least. Visar Jacoli still battling with Valentino Rossi, and I think he's got it this time. Jacoli to the front of the pack. I don't know if that fight is over, though. They got one more lap to scrap it out. Oh, maybe one more lap, actually. I think I misread what part of the track these guys were at, so it's going to be one more lap for them after this. So Martin Peterman is on his last lap. And, oh, well, maybe not. Maybe I was right the first time. Looks like they might be done. So next time across the finish line is the last one. Gideon Schultz is overtaken Wayne Hutchison. Of course, Gideon on the two-stop strategy will have much fresher tires. Ariel Zatoni also got Wayne, so I think actually maybe Wayne may have made a mistake. I don't think Zatoni was a two-stopper. We can find out after the festivities, though, because we can look at the race app. Although we have noticed in the past the race app claims you pitted when you didn't and misses pit stops, so we'll see. We'll see. Zatoni to the line. Oh, no! Your teammates! You're literally the same car!
No, not again.
Oh, no. And, well, Ariel's like, well, I'm finishing the pit lane, I guess. Valentino Rossi. I would be surprised if that's not a penalty unless it just wasn't reported. Because that was terrible. That was not in any way checking your blind spot before coming over. And, I mean, it got him 13th place, but it may also get him a word from the stewards. Your winner is Martin Peterman from Lucas Cranbeer, Alex Kruger, Sean Kenny, Christopher Streppen, Richard DeRoche. Andrew D might be my driver of the day in 7th place. Gerardo Delvel, John Barker, Nico Marchand, your top 10, Josiah Jerome, Visar Jacoli, Valentino Rossi, who had, we'll call it an eventful race, Gideon Schultz, Wayne Hutchison, Ariel Zatoni finishing in the pit lane. Daniel Hernandez had a good day. We didn't say much about him, but a good day. 17th place. Only one lap down. Elio Fernandez, Mauricio Delgado, Michael Magas, Vic Nash, Leonard Burke, Peter Stefani. See the end of the race. And we lost James Butler, Dimitri Simeonitis, Larry Foster, Robert Waddell, Martin Edmonds, and I didn't remember who the last person was. But I can find out. So let's see here. Let's see the answer to the question of who were the multi-stoppers and who were the ones who braved it out on just 2 sets of tires. Alrighty. Round 3 at the Lausitzring. We have got... Oh, and the final DNF was John Picho. I forgot about the Freshly Squeezed one. Come on. That's incompetent journalism right there. Okay, so I gotta remember how to do this. Pit and laps. There we go. Okay, so on the multi pits, we have. Okay, Ariel Zatoni was a multi pitter. Looks like he did 2 stops plus a drive through plus a finishing the race in the pit, in the pit lane. Dimitri Simeonitis 2 stops. Elio Fernandez did 2 stops. That would explain why he was so far back. I wonder if that didn't work out for him. Gerardo Dovel, Gideon Schultz was a multi-stopper. Larry Foster, Leonard Burke. Although, if I may hypothesize, I think Leonard Burke might have been a multi-stopper for damage as opposed to fuel and tire ideas, because he went a really, really long time before pitting. I have the lap number here. Why don't I just tell you the lap number? He went third, or he went 28 laps without pitting. Oh, wait, it's a drive-through penalty. That's what it is. It's a drive-through. There we go. So he was a one-stopper. Never mind. Mauricio Delgado, low-key, multi-stopper. Michael Magas, Nico Marchand. So Marchand was a drive-through though, so he was not. Peter Stefani. And that would be it. Those are the multi-stoppers. So the top multi-stopper wound up being Gerardo Delval in 8th place. So I think the one stop was the best way to go if you could manage it, but there's always the question of if you bang up your tires, what happens if you don't make that pit stop? What do you think, Little Higgs?
I think that your tires would just be gone by the end. You'd be pretty slow.
Well, it depends. I mean, did people pit because their tires were falling off, or did they pit because they were flat spotted? I guess that's the thing. If it's the former, I think you're better off going at the one stopper. But if it's the latter, then yeah, you are better off at a two stop strategy because the tires might just go completely.
Or in your case, you flat spot them early.
Actually, the flat spot wasn't all that bad, but it was gonna get painful if I had to drag her around the whole for to get to a really proper pitting location. Anyways, championship standings real quick. Christoph Verstappen leads the way with 181 points from Richard DeRoche's 175. Lucas Cranbier is up to third with 140. Out of 133 for Andrew D, 123 for John Barker, 120 for Martin Edmonds, 112 for Sean Kenny, making up for that DNF at Nürburgring nicely. Elio Fernandez had his first non-top top 10 result of the season. He's in 8th place on 110 points, ahead of Ariel Zatoni on 101, and the absentee Gustav Ekstrom, who unfortunately won't be making any more races apparently, is in 10th place. And that is a big deal for Audi because, as you can see, he was their number 3 driver, and it's going to be hard to come back from that. We'll have to see if Josiah Jerome can step up a little bit more than he's been doing. He's had 2 11th places since joining the grid, which are good results, but they're not really replacing Ekstrom results, who is 10th in Nürburgring and a podium finisher at Hockenheim. In terms of the division championships, the leader in Division 1 is obviously Verstappen. It would be a really weird and failure of the system if the Division 1 leader was not also the overall leader. Just saying. And in Division 2, it is John Barker. And Division 3, it is Vic Nash, who, interesting side note, Vic Nash has been the top finisher in Division 3 all but one race so far. He was beaten at the Nürburgring by Peter Stefani, but has taken Hockenheim and Lausitz for himself. He is also the only Division 3 driver to finish all 3 races, so he's got a nice commanding lead. In the team's battle with 752 points, it is Mercedes AMG leading the 685 of Audi Sportsline, so championship lead has changed there. BMW Performance is in 3rd place with 615 points. This is back-to-back rounds now where Mercedes has been the top scoring team, and by quite a bit this time. They scored 276 points this round to the 216 of BMW, although the single round record is still Audi from Nürburgring, who scored 277 points in a single round. And if I am not terribly mistaken, I believe they won both Division 2 and Division 1 that day. So that was a very impressive run for them.
That is.
Oh, no, I am wrong. Elio Fernandez of Mercedes won Division 2. Verstappen won Division 1, and Peter Stefani won Division 3. So, anything you'd like to add before we sign off here, Mr. Higgs?
I think you nailed it pretty well.
All right, well, that is all. And the next round of the championship will come into you on Saturday, March, or not March. I'm still thinking it's March. I've lost time with this whole isolation thing. Like, days run together, months run together. It will be on April the 18th, the next round of this championship. And that will be coming to you from, I believe it's Red Bull Ring. Nope, it is Zandvoort, one of your favorites. and one of the ones that I don't really like. So we'll see how that goes.